beautiful peeps. Welcome to Out the Brew Cupboard Chatty Ramble with me, Carly of Bardware. Hello, wonderful peeps. How are you all? It's very blustery in Wiltshire today. A bit blustery. It's supposed to have been absolutely tiddling down, and it's not, which is a really good thing. But it is blowing a hoolie. Yeah, proper. Looking out my window, and the whole world is like trees are going like you wouldn't believe. But it's not raining, which is good because I went to do the ponies last night and got absolutely, thingy wet through, as they say. There's loads of things. I want to chat about at the minute, and I keep getting fed things very, very quickly. So I'll start plodding my way through them. Well, not plodding my way through them, but I'll start sort of talking about them. It's something else that's come up with a friend today. Hopefully, I'm going to try and get her on a podcast and we'll have a chat together, which would be really cool. If she's game, she may well run the other way. I'd like to talk to her. So there's lots of things. There's loads of things coming up in the pipeline. I was talking to someone yesterday about some stuff, and it's really coming through, really channeled through very, very quickly, which is quite interesting because I was actually last week I was getting a little bit stuck. And I was finding myself sort of forcing the issue, which was, I was sort of like, what else can I talk about? Oh, can I talk about that? Everything that came up that I saw, like, follow on Facebook and stuff like that, I was going, I thought, oh, that looks good. Shall I? And then it just didn't sit right. You guys know what I mean when things don't sit right. So I was like, oh, should I talk about that? Should I talk about that? Oh, that would be good. And then I'd lose the thought pattern, and I was like, obviously I'm not supposed to talk about that, but literally when I've stopped thinking about trying to find subjects, I've had things or topics come up. Subjects is the wrong word. Topics come up, and they've gone like bish bash bosh, boop, 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 have these like that. Oh, crikey. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is this perceived value that is seems to be an ongoing thing. And it doesn't seem to matter where you are on your path. If you are doing something, I say for service, but if you're doing something, so if you're making, creating, you're crafting, you're painting, you're making jewellery, you're doing boxes like Grandad of Bardware does, making aura sprays, making doing so, anything like that, or anything where you're offering a service like mediumship, healing, therapies, counselling, anything along those lines, anything. We seem to. I don't know if it's just in the spiritual genre, or whether or not that's generally across the board, whether or not builders and painters and decorators and generally good, honest, general people have this problem or issue with charging for services, or wishing for, or wanting a just enough money to keep them going. I mean, I know we all want just enough money to keep going, but we feel guilty asking, or we feel guilty taking that money. Is it just the spiritual clique of people, or holistical clique of people, or is it also all the way across the board? So does it cover all professions and careers? I have no idea, because I haven't asked any builders or chippies or electricians. Perhaps I should. I should do my market research, shouldn't I, really, before I start chatty rambling away here. So it's one of those things that have cropped up again. I have a friend of mine who is an amazing medium. He does amazing readings. And we were having a conversation about ticket sales the other day, and the price of his tickets in comparison to other people's ticket prices. And I think he's very reasonable. But then we look at other ticket prices, and they're a little bit more. Not a massive amount, but they're a little bit more. And he's like, oh, should I be charging that amount? And then he says, well, I feel like if I'm charging that amount, that, I'm, in a way, he didn't say it, but he sort of said he knows he's worth it, but he feels as though he's putting it out of reach of people that might need to come. Now, is that us thinking out the box. I don't know. But then I said, well, you're just as good. And sort of, some of the price brackets we were looking at, there's some people are all across the board, they're one price. Some people different prices for different venues. And I know different venues charge different prices, so you have to cover your costs and make some money and your petrol money. And if you're travelling far, you have to counteract into that, including that, staying overnight, so your accommodation, all the muggly bits, all the sensible grown-up stuff. So you have to put in that as well. So it's so his prices, they're all set across the board. Doesn't matter what venue he's in. I think the only place I've ever noticed them go up is when actually the venue were organising it. So the venue set the price of the tickets. They they set the price of the tickets. He was paid a set amount. Blah 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 blah. So that, I think that's the only time I've ever noticed the money change. So it's really weird, isn't it? We all have this whole issue, and I had a conversation again with my best bird and my mum-in-law and my sister-in-law. We're all sat there talking about its perceived value and putting our prices at a level that we don't feel like it's not that we see. Then again, I can't talk about it. It's if we think they're too much and we're worried about people not going to buy them. But then there's this whole thing of if somebody really wants it, then somebody will buy it. So you're sort of sorry, I'm just going to shut the door because just as I sit here talking about things, the landline goes off. So yeah, it's this whole thing again, isn't it, about that perceived value? If we price ourselves too high, are people going to walk in and go, oh, is that too high? Is it because we're devaluing ourselves? Or the real question is, are we devaluing ourselves and our time and our effort and our work? Are we not confident enough to say, well, this is what I've done and it's worth this amount? But we're confident enough to stand there and sell it and be proud of what we do. And I know we're all very proud of what we do, and we're all very proud of each other's accomplishments and services we provide. That sounds very, very, very regimented, but it's the only way I can sort of say it. So we also then, I know that I do, when I look at it, I think, I sell crystals on the stall. Not everywhere I go, but in certain places I will sell crystals on the stall. So if I go to a fair and there's another crystal seller, I won't get the crystals out. That's that's just part of the course, because we all fit in together. But the crystals that I sell aren't extortionate. I mean, I know I've got no shop overheads. I've just got the, my fuel with transport and my time and, the other bits and pieces that you pay into it. So there's not a mass amount. But, I like to keep them reasonable because I know that kids buy them, and kids, you see, it's opening people up to that opportunity and having that chance to acquire something that they haven't had, which then steps them onto it's the ripple effect, which then steps them onto their journey. So I suppose the crystals will keep at a certain level because of obviously the kids. But it's like the boxes that Grandad makes and bits and pieces. I mean, my daughter is now crocheting some bits and pieces for the Bardware store, which are lovely. And she's made some really funky things for Glastonbury. And it's like I said to her, well, how much yarn have you used? And she's blooming good, bless her. She's all self-taught, she's very clever. And I say to her, well, how much yarn have you used? How long did it take you to do it? She does exactly the same. Oh, I don't know, Mum. Only took me like an hour, 40 minutes. And you're just like, oh, right, okay. Well, how much yarn did you use? Well, hardly anything. You say, well, can you give us a cost price then of how much it took to produce it? Oh, I don't know. That's what she says. So it's like, what do we do? I don't know. But it's very interesting how this conversation keeps coming up. And on the weekend, and he's absolutely lovely. His name's Bert, and he's in the corner. It's not a new dog. It's a money plant. And my amazing sister-in-law is actually putting together magical money manifesting sets. God, Han, that's a mouthful. But I love it. And she's taken a lot of time, and this has all been channeled. This is amazing. So she's given me all the information with it, but she gifted me one. I've got all the crystals, but when she sells them, she sells the money plant, which has come from a money plant my mum-in-law's got, so Hannah's mum's got, which is about 40 odd years old. So it's, it's been in the family come time. And as we all know, if you nip a leaf off a money plant or they drop off, they will root so that, you can carry on. The plant that carries on giving. So it's that forever flowing plant, which is amazing. But she's created and channeled these amazing manifesting sets. So on her stall, she'll sell you have to name the plant yourself. So mine's called Bert, because I love Bert. So you have the plant, you have the crystals, you have the information pack. Excuse me. You have all these wonderful bits and pieces that you can use. She's then written about, you've got, excuse me, frog in front. She's then got getting to know your money tree, how you deal with your money tree. So it's if you're not used to working with crystals, she then, not used to working with crystals, it's very much sort of if you're starting your path. So she's written it very much in basic terms, but giving you the good ground levels to do it. And it's also working on positive energy and manifesting that out into the universe. It also says about connecting with the universe and putting out into the universe what you want, and not being, basically encouraging you not to be ashamed or feel like you're taking the mick, really, asking for what you want. Because we all don't like to. It's the old thing, if you don't ask, you don't get, isn't it? But we all don't like to ask because we're very British. I wonder whether or not other cultures have this issue. Or no, other cultures do have this issue, because I've listened to a chap in America, Grandad Abardware, forwarded me over this YouTube video of this chap in America who did craft fairs, and he has the same problem. He has this same thing. So talking about Hannah's manifesting sets, they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. They're amazing. But it's made me realise that even though I know that we shouldn't underestimate what we do, and we shouldn't twitch about if we want to put a couple of extra pennies on top, because we need to survive as well as everybody else. Even though we know this, we're still finding it really hard. And this sort of brings on to another subject or another topic I want to cover at some point. And a lot of people call it shadow work. But I was just talking to somebody now, and I think collectively that terminology should be changed, because a lot of people, when you say shadow work, a lot of people, it does create this dark mindset type thing, and it's not that. It's something completely and utterly different. And a friend of mine was explaining it on a voice message, and I love the way she's explaining it, but that's a topic for another day. But I also feel with this money manifestation, you have to do that to free up the stuff to move it forward, because we're talking to Hannah, we hold a lot of it's our personalities as well, but we hold a lot of how we deal with money in our adult life with, excuse me today, with how it was dealt with in our in our childhood. So looking back on my childhood. I was very lucky in one respect, but when I say not so lucky in another, if some other people looked at me, they would go not so lucky in others. It depends what you know. When I look back at it now, I had a home, I had a bed to sleep in, I had food to eat on the table, I had clean clothes, I had clothes to wear to school, and I had clothes to wear to my ponies. But we worked really hard. I had ponies. You know, there's not many kids at the age of 8 say they've got a pony, but it's not a but. I didn't have, because I had ponies, I didn't have feeler trainers, kicker shoes, the whole falling into that, you know, what everybody else was doing at school, what everybody else had at school. I had one coat. It was for the yard and for school. But it's either we didn't have horses and we had that. And the whole family gave up a lot of sacrifices to have horses and to enable me to have, me and my mum, to have what we did. And we all worked really hard, you know. But does that then reflect on the way I am with money now? As in making it accessible for other people, because sometimes things weren't accessible for me? Or do I not want to ask too much because I feel like I'm pricing it out of the reach for other people? I make it accessible for other people. I'm repeating myself, aren't I? Or do I feel I'm not worthy to price the prices up? Or do I look at it from a very sort of basic level? And I mean, there's some stuff that I buy in for the store and I buy it because it's beautiful. And yes, I do put a markup on it, but I don't put the recommended retail price on it. I always mark it lower. So I might make a couple of quid, but I'm not making anything else. That couple of quid may well just put some fuel in the truck, or buy my lunch, or put some fuel in floating boaty, Emma's car, or pay for the pitch fee. Because you've got to pay for your pitch fee out of these. Pitch fees aren't free. Some of them are quite expensive. So I'm doing a massive chatty ramble here, aren't I? So might have to go onto thingy too. So a perceived value. Does everyone else struggle with this problem of perceived value? It's really interesting. So I've got wonderful Bert in the corner. And I'm going to talk to him every day, and he's got his green aventurine, and he's got some rose quartz with him. Sorry, I'm really croaky. And he's got some rose quartz with him. And I'm going to talk to him every day, and hopefully he is going to help me deal with the whole thing of not feeling so guilty about putting good value and cost on stuff that we do. But not that it's out of reach for other people. And to deal with my inner workings that need to... My shadow work. Excuse me a minute. Hang on. Right. Now I've had a good cough. I switched it off, had a cough, came back. So... yeah, it's just something to think about. It'd be interesting to see if anyone else suffers with this. Anyone else, if you're listening, if you're suffering with not suffering, but if you're going through the same thing, if you're going through that whole trying to price stuff, perceived value, or even if you're just going through life, just wanting a little bit more, don't be afraid to ask the universe for a bit of help. Don't feel as though you're not worthy, or you're not valued enough. You are valued. You are valued. By all means, we're all valued. And I think we all have to embrace, let's say, talking about shadow work, but that's a topic for another day that I'd love to have a discussion with my friend with. Hopefully I can get her on talking on the podcast and we can have a chat about it. But I think we all need to do that, looking back, healing what's changing our thought pattern, whether it's changing our thought pattern and making us not feel so guilty about wanting a little bit extra for ourselves. We can still be generous people and we still help people, but having taken a little bit and having a little bit for ourselves, we're perfectly entitled to do that. That's not going to change us as a person. That's not going to make us a nasty person or a selfish person. We don't have to give everything away. And I think that's something that we really have to get through to ourselves. And it's really helped me start talking about it to you guys on the podcast, because I'm chatting away. I chat away to myself in the stables when I'm mucking out. So chatting away and putting it down and recording it has really helped, because it's making me look again. As I say, it's a continual conversation that keeps cropping up every few months. We have the same problem, with the same conversation, with the same people, in the same... Yeah, be interesting to see if chippies and builders and plasterers and everyone else has the same issue. And Perceived talking, funny enough, I bumped into lovely Kate from Confident Soul. She came down and saw us the weekend, and we were talking about perceived value. And again, I was talking with her about it. And then I had a conversation with my best bud and my mum-in-law and my sister-in-law when we shut the market, and they didn't know. We got on this conversation. Then we were talking about lovely Bert, my magical money plant that's come to me from Hannah, which I love. He's absolutely lovely. So if you ever see Dixie Delights out and about, shameless plug. It's not a shameless plug at all. I'm plugging her. And she's got her wonderful manifesting money sets on... her stall. Go and buy them, because this is all completely channeled. It's put it together. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And if you're not sure and you've never done the manifesting or the connecting with the universe, she writes it all down so that you can understand it. But it's not like loads of pages. It's in compact, understandable layman's term stuff. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So highly recommended. Anywho, where was I? Katie. Yes. So Katie popped and said hello, which was really lovely to see her. And we were talking about, again, I don't even know how we got in the conversation, about this value of things. And I made her absolutely hysterically laugh, because I had this little Asian lady come up to the stall. And I don't know if you follow the Bardware page, I do these beautiful wooden spoons with these canal art on. And they're done, by hand. They're done really, really small. They're very delicate. They do look like they're transfers, but you feel them, and they are definitely painted. It took me about an hour and a half to do these wooden spoons. So they're all decorated up the handle and the back of the bowl of the spoon, and they've got twine, Hessian twine on them. And they're £6 each, which actually isn't that much, to be fair, for an hour and a half's work. Plus you've got to take out, your paints for the base coat, the paint for the enamel paints. The enamel paints aren't cheap. They're Humbro enamel paints. They're expensive. The time of, don't even count the time, the terps. So if you say to me, and the wooden spoon, so if you say to me, it's probably, I don't know, £1.50 cost price. Okay. So that's not including my time. So £1.50 cost price. So that's all the terps, the electric, everything. I've sat there to do it. And so technically speaking, what's that? So that's £4.50 for an hour and a half's work. I mean, it's laughable, but I love doing it. I love doing it. There you go. See, I'm defending it again. I love doing it. Anywho, this lovely little Asian lady come up. She bought a couple of really big crystals, and they were triagate, and they were £2 each. So they're good big crystals. I mean, they're like, they're quite big. They're substantial. They're small. So they're £2 each. And then there was a piece of smoky quartz. And she also looked at the fridge magnets. Now I make the fridge magnets to go on the stall. So, they're only sort of plastic, print, do the pictures, print them off, put them in, glue them down, So they're only £2 each. They literally, they cost me like 50p to make. So they're £2 each. I'll give it all my prices away here, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so she fancied one of them, and she liked my spoon. and it was one with a triple moon on and the elements on it. It was really nice. And she said, and I'm not being derogative, but I just have to say how she said it because it was brilliantly done. She said, understand little, because I said to her, 'cause she asked me about the crystals, I said, did you understand all that? I understand little, English little. Okay, cool. The two words she knew really well was discount and bargain. She was brilliant. She had a lovely personality. We had a right giggle with our pigeon English to each other, and she pointed at the spoon. How much? I said £6. Oh, discount, or this discount. I said discount. I said it takes me an hour and a half's work. And she laughed. I said, it takes me an hour and a half to do that. I said, that's a long time. And she was giggling. Anyway, we get to the end of it and she said, oh, discount. I still gave her a blasted discount. So she ended up getting the spoon for £5 and a free fridge magnet. And she paid for the crystals. But I knocked £1 off the spoon and chucked the fridge magnet in for free. I mean, it's funny now, I laugh about it. But seriously, I mean, really. When I look back and I'm just like, I was talking to Katie about it and I literally slapped myself on the forehead and went, "Don't, you Burke," you know? But I don't know what it is. It was just like, oh, go on then, you know. She wasn't trying a hard bargain, this lovely little Asian lady, but it was proper like discount, bargain, discount. I mean, I know, you know, some cultures and in some countries they haggle and barter for everything, which I understand. It's absolutely fine. But I was like, I said no to start with and then went, oh yeah, go on then. And chucked a fridge magnet in for free. What a Burke. I proper slapped myself on the forehead and went, oh, man. But yeah, anywho, I mean, she paid full price for the crystals. She had £1 off the spoon and she had a free fridge magnet. Oh, dearie me. Never mind. And as I say, then I furthered on the conversation. I had the conversation with everybody in the hall when we finished, and it was just like, oh, okay. You know, this is a proper bop on the nose. You've got, we've all got to sort of sort ourselves out. And I know things are tight with everybody, but I've also noticed that a lot of people are saving their money to specifically go to places. So we got Glastonbury Medieval Fair next weekend, and a lot of people have already pre-planned that they're going there and they've got some spending money. And I'm not saying everybody's got to come and spend money with me. And I know we take the stall out and it's not the money for us. It's not our ethos behind it is that, you know, whoever we sit and talk to at some point in time, you know, over the weekend, it's meeting lovely people, getting the name out there, possibly helping people along the way, which is what our ethos is all about. But we also do still need to put petrol in the car, otherwise we're not going to get there. And we still need to pay for accommodation, otherwise we can't stay overnight and then we can't get there. And we also need to feed ourselves and put a roof over our own heads. So, you know, whilst we still give in stuff, we've still got to remember that we still need to survive. And I know money comes from all sorts of wonderful places and abundance comes from all sorts of wonderful places. I'm grateful every day I can get up and put my own knickers on. So I am not ungrateful at all. So this shouldn't be taken that I'm ungrateful and that I want more money. I think it's just that we've all got to learn to accept that we are bloody good at what we do, and you know, whatever we do, we are bloody good at it, and we need to appreciate ourselves a little bit more. I think that's the key to it, and not be afraid to blow our trumpet a little bit more, and possibly just put a couple of extra pennies on top of some of the stuff that we think is, you know, right to put a couple of quid of extra pennies on top. So that's all I really wanted to say today. I've rambled for half an hour. So massive apologies to everybody who has stuck it out this far. Thank you for listening. And hopefully we'll sort out getting an interview on, and we'll have a little chat with my friend about the other topic I was talking about earlier. So have a cracking rest of the day, a rest of the night. I shall relieve your ears of my chatty rambling, and I will speak to you all soon. Lots of love. Bye.